Shem. Why did you join the class? Is there any particular reason, or what was your interest in the class before you joined?
Okay. I wanted to switch from JavaScript to Python, so that was my interest.
Okay, you don't want to do JavaScript again, or I don't get.
No, 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 not that. Actually, I'm a full stack developer, but I wanted to shift from JavaScript to Python in backend. So I saw this is a nice opportunity to start from ground up to know the basic of Python before I venture into framework.
I noticed yesterday I think I already, to an extent, I knew you had some level of programming when your contributions in class yesterday. So it's interesting to know that you want to add more knowledge to your stack. So yes, it's really impressive. Full stack. I think Mr. Kennedy is also a JavaScript pro, so he's also here to also add Python as its stack. So yeah, it's really impressive. Thank you for sharing. Joe, you came just not long from now. Um, why did you decide to pick up Python? What exactly like was your main reason for joining this class? Joe Mburu. You're muted, but I can't hear you. Let me be sure it's not my network. Okay, I can't hear you. I know you're muted. You're no longer muted. But if you okay, I think I can hear sound.
Uh, how about now? Can you
I
can
can
you
hear
hear
you
me now?
now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. So good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So for me, I've always wanted to get involved with Python, but I've been lacking the consistency and the passion. So I'm hoping to find it here.
I hope you find it. I wish you the best since
Yeah.
you're looking for the passion. So that's nice.
Thank you.
Teresia, do you have any previous programming language knowledge, and why are you joining? What are you hoping to get?
Yes, good afternoon. I
Absolutely.
have previous knowledge. I know JavaScript and Ruby. For the stack, I think I have used React and Rails. So for Python, I wanted to diversify the languages that I know. That's why I joined.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Um, Benjamin, I know the first day of class you said you didn't have any knowledge, but so far, from your experience from the first day to today, what have you, what has gotten made an impression on you? Has the language, do you seem to feel like you made a good choice joining the class?
Um, well, normally I just wanted to get extra skills, like a skill set. So yeah, I'm actually enjoying the class, honestly.
Okay, thank you. K Brown, why did you join the class? What do you have any previous knowledge of any programming language, possibly JavaScript, because it seems to be what's popular here. So do you know JavaScript, and what do you hope to do with Python?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Joining this class, joining this class, I did not have any back knowledge.
Okay.
Uh, I want to. I saw the opportunity to take, so I decided to take this opportunity. By far, I'm continuing to learn at the join the class.
Okay. Do you have your system where you practice after the classes? Do you have time to practice what you're learning?
Yes,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I
Thank
have a
you.
system.
Okay. And you have everything.
Yeah,
You
thanks.
you have no issue. Everything we are doing so far, you're flowing with it.
I have no issues.
All right. All right. That's good to know. Thank you. Um,
Yes.
Kennedy. I already know you have experience with JavaScript, but just
Yeah.
tell me so far how you're flowing with Python. What's the experience like for you so far?
Um, okay, good day everyone.
Okay.
Why I actually want to take this Python classes because Python is one of the highest programming languages now in the world, and having the knowledge of Python, you can actually venture into different fields. And the class has been so cool for me because I just found out that if you actually know one programming language, it's much more easier for you to learn another one. And I'm sure Victor can testify to that. So it's just for you to know how Python syntax is away from JavaScript. So, but it would be nice to add it to my stack. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I actually want everyone to talk. I'm trying to look for someone I've not asked. Sorry, let me see everyone here. Priscilla is Priscilla. So can you tell us how the class? I don't know if you've said something before. How has the class been for you? Is the class meeting up to your expectations? What do you hope to do with the class? With the lessons, like with Python generally? Okay, I don't know if she can hear. Okay, well, I see that the time is fast spent. Priscilla, are you there? If you are there, you can leave your comments in the chat. I'll, I'll pick it up from there. So, to those that have just joined, thank you for joining. I know today is Saturday. We're all here making sacrifices for this class, and we'll be done next month. So it's just a little sacrifice. All right, so far in the class, we've looked at introduction to Python programming. We've considered data types, variables, operators, and then we also looked at basic input and output. So today, we are going to be combining everything we've done so far to be making conditional statements. So today, we'll be looking at conditional statements, if else, elif, and we'll also be looking at for loop and while loop. So I'm joining the conditional statements and loops together because they are basically like they are also loops are also conditional statements, but we'll spend enough time today making sure that we understand the concept of conditional statements. Now, with people that already have experience with JavaScript, I believe this is not new to you because in JavaScript we also make use of conditional statements. You have the we have I think we have while loop in JavaScript, and these are not common. These are not new things. Excuse me. These are not new concepts to you, but we are going to look at how they apply, how they exist in Python. Almost the same thing, to be honest, but we'll just make use of conditional statements in Python programming. Okay, so let me begin by explaining what we mean by a conditional statement. I think all of us understand what it means to consider when a condition has been set and when a condition is to be met. So, the English dictionary meaning of conditions is, I think, what we'll first of all start to consider when somebody says, "Oh, he has given you a condition," or he has given you a. No, I think it's. I want to say ultimatum, but in a way, when someone tells you, I know it usually it's very popular when you see that common in social situations when someone says, if you don't come on time, I will go. Or if you don't come on, if you don't bring, maybe you don't do your assignments, you will not pass the exam. Or you see, or maybe severe social case where someone will tell you that, okay, fine, if you don't define the relationship, we're not going further, all those kind of things. Now this is where people give all these if statements to say, okay, if something happens, then this will happen. On the condition that this is met, this should happen. Okay, so we do that in Python where we want to navigate the flow of your program to say, okay, from line one, line two, line three, if you meet this here, go left. If you meet this here, go right. Things like that. So that's what happens. The English definition of conditions is not the circumstances or factors affecting the way in which people live. Okay, no, this is not the accurate one. I need something. Okay, yes. Bring something into the desired state for use, have a significant influence, or to determine the manner of outcome. Exactly. So that's the main thing. To have conditions refer to things that have a significant influence on something, on the outcome of something. So you have your code running, and then we're looking at the condition that something is present in your code, and if that is present, do this. If it's not present, do that. Yesterday we looked at conditional operators, and I think if you when you have time to, for those that were not there yesterday, when you have time to look at conditional operators, it would make it will be easier for you to do your final study and then to get everything in motion. So the first conditional statement we're looking at is if. Let me share my screen and we can start today's code. Uh, as I said in the class, next week's class is going to be exercise, 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 because it's not just, I'm not supposed to be talking. It's mostly supposed to be a joint process. Everyone is working together and all. So let me share my screen. So next week, everybody will be sharing their screen. We'll all be having like a joint. Well, if it's possible, you share your screen and then it will be massively interactive. Okay, so we're going to look at the first conditional statement, which is, let me use this, if, else, and elif. Okay, elif is also else if. Okay, if you just remove, but this is else if equal to elif, right? Something like that. So if in the conditional statement we have if.
We can't see your screen.
Okay, how? Okay, thank you for pointing that out. I thought it was sharing. Can you see it now? Can you see my screen now?
No, it's coming up. Yeah, it's coming. Yeah. Um,
You can see the if
Nothing
else.
is showing yet. Just your. Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, all right. So we have if, we have else, and we have else if. Elif, which is else if. I just tried to show something here. So let me start by making the first statement. So let's build a basic program where this comes in to play. So we say x is equal to, I think I showed this yesterday, 20. Y is equal to 30 if x is greater than y. Print Okay, so here I have, let me comment this out. So here I have x is equals to 20, y is equals to 30.
Your screen is not picking.
What's happening?
Miss Ruby, you can't. I don't know. I'm not seeing your screen. I don't know if it's only me. I
Oh,
guess you're sharing a single tab, so you need to like share entire screen
that's
or
what I
entire
did.
window.
I don't know why it's coming back. Can you see it now? What's happening?
Not up here.
Okay, I think it's from Google Meet because I'm sharing the entire screen and it's not working. Can you see it now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's off now.
Okay. All right, thank you. Please, if it stops again, let me know because I can't, when I move out, I can't see what's happening there. Let me move this a bit so that I will know. All right, so we have x is equals to 20, y is equals to 30. If x is greater than y, print true. If it's not, print false. That's what this code here means. Now, we wrote the if statement and the else statement. Every if statement must have an else statement. So if the light is on, or when you go home, if there is light on the AC, if it's not, close the door. That kind of thing. I'm trying to use like day in, day out, let's say examples. Now, every if must have an else. You can't have an if without an else. But you can have an elif in between the x equal to y print something. Okay. Every if must have an else, but you don't need to have, elif is optional. It's on the condition that there are two conditions to be met. But you can't have two if statements. Okay, let me not confuse you. Let me go to the basics. Hold on. Let me go to the beginning again. Let me remove this elif. So we have if x is greater than y, print true, else print false. If I run this, sorry, Control S, and if I run this, it will print false because x is less than y. So it passed this condition and went to this because it didn't meet this condition, the if condition. So it went to meet the else condition. So I don't know if you guys are still seeing. So yes, that's what happened here. We now said um, check to see if x is greater than y. If that's the case, print true. But if you check and you see that it's not greater than y, you print false. That's what the statement means. So I want to give a better example. I want us to use a different example. So let's say we have a, I like to give the grading exercise, but that one should be an assignment of its own. So let me use something else. Okay.
Hello?
Okay, your
Hello?
hands are up.
Okay, I tried to raise my hand, but it
I was not
seems I
saying,
haven't seen it.
sorry.
Okay, you, you said if statements must have an else.
Yes.
So you can't just use if statement. For instance, if you want to check just a certain condition
Hmm.
is true,
You
if
must
that
have an
condition is
else.
false, to exist out of the loop, you don't need that.
Okay,
Okay.
you need to have an else. It always ends with an else because if you want to check one condition, why are you using an if? I think you most likely use Okay, let me put it like this. Let's say you're not sure that that
Can
condition
we
can be
can
met.
we try with that code to see?
Okay,
Yeah.
let me try it. Let me try it. Let's
Yeah.
see. Now, the truth is, if you run an if statement, it will work without an else. Okay,
Yeah.
but if I clean this else now, it's just one statement. If I run it, you will definitely get. Why is it not working? Hold on. Can you see that nothing showed because this first condition was not met? So it's for the reason of exception,
Yeah. Exactly.
of exception that we now use this print to say, okay, I also wanted to explain that if you're not sure of the condition you're trying to meet, let's work on a project. So maybe it would when we get to the project, we'll be sure a bit. But I just want to explain this foundation before I we see it in action. But does anyone else, thank you for asking that question, Victor. Does anyone else have anything to say before I go on to work on the first project? Is anyone confused? Okay, since no one is saying, okay, I'm seeing yes. Okay, service has been breaking. Okay, I will just try to explain it again. Then we'll start. I will work on. I'll build a program that will use if statements. Then we'll see it in action. Okay, so let me go back to my screen. So we have two statements. We have a definite statement that x is equals to 20 and y is equals to 30. That's a definite statement. Now we're building a program and we want something, a program to flow, because conditionals allow your program to flow line by line by line by line. There's something we call flowchart programming. We use conditional statements to do all of that. Okay. Now we now want the computer to check, compare between these two and say if x, the variable x, is greater than the variable y, print true. Now, as I showed before, without adding the else, it was blank. But let me try and change this to a condition that I know is true. If I save this and I run it, it will give me true. Because on the basis of the condition that I set, knowing that it is true, I did this. Now, but when you're building your program, your if statement definitely has to have an else statement because of exception. Except this is false, except this is false, yes, then do this. So we'll say else print false. Okay. So if statements allow you to check if one is working, and then if it does not work, it will be on the condition that this is not met, then do the second one. So that's why I said every if statement must have an else. I just hope I've not confused you more. Okay. Do you get, did you get it a bit? The truth is with conditionals, with this statement, is just think of it as I said, a social condition is to be met. The example I used before is if you go home, if there is light, you turn on the AC. If there is no light, you turn on the gen. So when you go home, and then if you just said, okay, because we have light issues, of course. So if you now say, when you go home, if there is light, turn on the AC. But then you go home and there is no light, you were not given any instruction to follow. It just ends there. Automatic braking, it just breaks at that point. But then the person giving you the instruction should now say, if you go home and there is no light, then you should on the gen, and then you can on the fan or something. So it allows you to bypass a condition to the next one with else statements. Have I confused you the more, Chris?
What like
What?
I'm crazy ass confused right now.
Okay.
Basically, what you're trying to say is that for that sentence, like that variable, is it variable we call it? If x is greater than y, then x is equals to 20, then y is equals to 30,
30.
right? You said that yes, thank you. You said you wrote if x is less than y, print true. If you try to run it and it doesn't go, you put else print false. Did you
No, you
say it
don't
that
put
way?
you
Because
don't put
I've
the
been
else.
taking seriously my services is poor.
See, you don't put the else before you run it. You put the else. Sorry, you don't put the else after you run it. Maybe it didn't work, you now say okay, else no. You put the else anticipating an error. Let me go back to my example because as I said, the thing is coding is
Okay, so I'll put if I'm not sure.
yes. Because you need to give the computer something to work on for your program to flow. Okay? Coding is you interpreting social circumstances on your
Mhm.
computer. um as I said, I think I said it yesterday, you have to think of the problem you want to solve before you write your code. You have to think of what you want to do before you write your code. Okay, fine. Now you're building your program. I don't want to miss in case anyone raised their hand. So now you're building your program and you want to solve a program that needs a flow, that deals with flow. The example we're going to do now, you're going to see why we need a flow down from one level to another level to another level to another level. So for you to go from one level to the next level, conditions must be met. You also have to make requirements that if that condition is not met, what should the computer do if it's not met? So think of it as you're giving, of course, programming is giving computer instruction. So you're giving the computer instruction to be flowing, to be flowing, to be flowing like that. Now, I'm going to use the example I gave before to give an example again. You are at home with your parents. Your parents want to send you on an errand. My mom personally likes to send me on plenty errands. Now, so if I'm staying with my parents, and then my mom is like, okay, go to the room. If you find my bag on the room, in the room, sorry, if you find my bag in the room, bring out so and so inside the bag. But if it's not there, if you don't find the bag in the room, go to the next room. Okay? You go to the next room. I go there and I don't see the bag. If I see the bag, fine. I know what I'm doing. That's the if statement. The else is now, okay, if you don't find the bag in the room, go to the next room. Okay? When I go to then from there, that's a new level. I've gone to another room. To go to that room now, she says, okay, if you don't find the bag in that next room, maybe check so and so place. If you don't find it there, there are different levels to this instruction. If statement allows you to have different levels to this instruction. Now let me also use this errand example now to teach Elif. Now the same situation before is go to the room, look for my bag, and if my bag is not there, go to the next room. Now, but if you find the bag on the bed and it's also opened, so if the bag is there, Elif, the bag is maybe opened, or the bag is not on the bed, or maybe the bag is on the table. There may be something, because now she's not sure where she dropped the bag, but she's sending you on this errand to, okay, maybe check the bed, check the table. If it's not there, check the other room. If it's not in the other room, check so and so and so and so and please. So these are the instructions you're giving the computer to say, okay, I need you to make sure that these conditions are met. And if it's not met, try this instead. So I don't know how else to explain this if else and elif thing without showing you the example, like now, and then maybe you will understand it. The more you practice, um, it will make sense. Kennedy, your mic is unmuted. Do you have something you want to say?
Oh, no, no, no. Sorry. So I didn't even know
Okay.
it was
Because I
unmuted.
thought you wanted to ask a question. All right. So Chris, if your system is on, I would advise you continue as I'm going to do the example now. I would advise you continue practicing on your end as I'm doing it, so that because you will learn by doing. So just it will stick better as you practice.
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
All right. So let's go. So I'm going to
So I should create like a new
a new file.
idle, right?
Yes, a new file. Wherever you're editing your code in,
A
create.
new file in idle.
Yes. I saw someone that was not
Mm.
here before.
Mm.
Faith. Faith Victoria, are you following? I don't know if your idle is open. You don't have to unmute yourself. You can leave a chat. I just want to know, did you install your the Python on your system? All right. All right. So that's fine. So let's go to okay. All right. So let's go to the program. So we're going to build a Treasure Island game. Don't know if you're familiar with Treasure Island, but we're going to build a two-dimensional Treasure Island game. It doesn't have to be anything serious. Um, no, I think we should do sign up, sign in. Let's do a sign up, sign in program because that's very easy to do. So we're doing a two-dimensional sign up, sign in program that allows a user to register their password and then check if the password they enter is correct with the password they did install. It's okay, it's fine. Don't worry. I just wanted to be sure that you have it um on your system. Okay, so let's go. Now the sign up sign in allows us to compare the user's username and the user's password before we can tell them that they can log in. So I will start first by creating the variables. Okay, let me write it. Let me greet the user. Welcome to the welcome to Facebook. Another print statement. Now log in. No, sorry. Now create an account. Okay. These are my first opening statements. The next thing will be to create the variable for username. So to create a username, the user needs to to create an account, sorry. The user needs to have a username, password. We just need these two. But some people can go ahead to add email. So for the sake of this, I will just say email address. Okay. So username equal to input. What's let me say register your username and for password I'm just going to do the same password. Okay, just let me be sure that it's still showing. All right, so we've created the username for the registration, the email. Okay, the password, let me do the same for email, your email address. When you use an input, you need to keep space for because if you don't put space, what the user puts and your last text, it will join. But if you keep space, there's like it just appears better. So let me just keep a colon here. Keep a colon here. A colon here. So now we say print. You have successfully registered. Now log in. The next thing we'll do now is to allow the user to try and log in with the password and the username they've entered. So we'll say username one because this is another username variable. Do I have a question? All right, Mohammed, your hand is up. Matan Mohammed. Okay, please, if you have a question, leave it in the chat so that I can come back to it. Okay, so let's go. Now, username one, just going to paste this before. Enter your username. Sorry. Then password one. I can do this username one, username two, but I don't want to. It doesn't matter. Then enter your password. Okay. Now we're done. This first part handles their input for registration, and this second part handles their input for logging in. Okay. Now we now write our if statement. If username equal to username one. Maybe I should run this before I do the conditional. Let me run what I've written so far so we can see it. So now, welcome to Facebook. Now create your account and I would say Ebube, Ebube, Ebube at gmail.com. You can even, it doesn't, we've not done any verification here, authentication at this point. So even if you just write the same thing everywhere, it will still run. You've not given any extra information. So let me not confuse anyone. So let me just write gmail.com. You have successfully registered. Now log in. Simple. That's all we've done from the beginning to this point. Let me leave it here so anybody that can read before I go back to the code. Let me just keep it here for a minute so someone understands what we've done. So we wrote our print statement, welcome to Facebook. Another print statement, now create an account. We did the input for username, input for password, input for email address. We ran another print statement. You have successfully registered. Now log in. We did another username, username one, another variable, password one. So that's what we've done to this point. Let me close this. So now we now write our if statement that would allow the user log in or not. So if username equal to username one, let's say the user puts registered with Ebube small letter, then now went ahead to use Ebube capital letter, it's not equal, it's not the same thing, right? And for a user to log in, their username and password must be correct. So we've now said if the username is correct and password equal to password underscore one, there's always a colon at the end of an if statement. Print you have logged in. Don't know what this thing is popping. Okay. You have logged in. Okay. Else, your else must be directly under the if statement. If you have this, you are wrong. If you have one, you are wrong. It must be directly, the E and the I must be directly under. Do I have a question? Oh, okay, 15 minutes. All right. Else, so what happens now? We've said okay, if the username is correct and the password is correct, print you have logged in. So what happens when it's not correct? When I say else, print incorrect details. Try again. Okay. So this is basically the simple sign up, sign in thing. And we have conditions where in this one now we didn't make the condition of where the username is correct but the password is not correct, or the password is correct and username is not correct. It will have to manipulate that through the if statement. But I just want to show you a very simple one where the user has the same username and the same password. And so let me run this so we can see it. Control S and then we run. So register your user. So it will be B, B, B. I said you have logged in. Now let me do it again and run it again for when I put incorrect details. Incorrect details, try again. So um do you guys understand it better now? Does it make sense? Chris, do you are you following it now? So I'm going to send this code. Chris, are you there? Do you understand the if statement now? Okay, all right. So I just saw your message. Okay. Oh, okay. So I'm going to send this code, not this, to the chat. I'll put everything in a GitHub. What I want to actually do is to start storing the code we are writing, because now we'll actually be writing some programs and then we'll be putting it on GitHub. So I will
أي سمع وحش سمع
okay. Please, if you have a question, Mohammed, please leave it in the chat. Okay. Um I'll be putting all the code we're using on GitHub. Okay, let me go back so you can continue typing. Sorry. I'll be putting the code we have on GitHub so that for your personal knowledge, if you want to just get the code, the source code, you just go there and then get it. I believe some people may not have GitHub, so I should dedicate time to teaching GitHub next week. I think I'll do that on Friday so that for those that don't have GitHub, I can explain how it works and how you can access code on GitHub. So, does anyone have any question concerning this sign up, sign in thing we did? Okay, seems no one has a question. All right, so we're going to come back with oh, I've not shown Elif. Yes, I've not shown Elif. So I'm going to do another project that would show Elif. Let me see the time. We have 11 minutes. That's enough time. Okay. I will save this code here, but I'll send it to the group after the class so that anyone that wants to look at it and practice will practice. So, but I'll create a new folder so that I can do it here. So let me write my code here. So we want to build a grade system. So what do I mean by a grade system? A grade system is where usually if you write your exam and your score comes out, if you say okay, you know that okay, you had an A in English, you had a B in maths, you had a C in, let's say, social studies, you had a D in introduction in technology or what the courses them, you have an E in whatever studies. There are certain conditions that must be met for the person to know that this is an A, this is a B, this is a C. Usually in coding, this should actually be a class exercise. But yesterday nobody did the class exercise, so I don't want to send anyone to do the. Okay, Winnie did some. I think two people did. Yeah, two people did also. So I don't want to give class exercise anymore. Rather, I'll give assignments only. But let me do this now. Anyway, so we have certain scores that will make you know that okay, so and so is A. Some schools they will say 90 to 100 is A, or 80 to 100 is A, 70 to 80 is B, 60 to 70 is C. I don't know the grades they use. So I'm going to try to build a program that would help a teacher. Let's say you guys submit your assignments now, or we have like a class quiz and people will have their scores. I don't want to manually start figuring out what is this person's score. Is it A? Is it B? I want to build a program that I will just put this score and it will tell me that's an A, that's a B, that's a C, that's a D. Okay, so I'm going to do that here now. So the first thing I'm going to do is to wait, let me be sure I have time. I don't know if it's too risky to start. Okay, you know what? I think it's best if I send a new link so it doesn't interrupt me while I am teaching the second. I'm using the free plan. Sorry, that's why we have to keep going and coming back. Um, I'll send the new link so that we can join. Um, I don't want to start and stop halfway. So let me send the new link. Um, hold on. So please, I will send the link. Please, you guys should join. Just go to the next meeting room. It's not. Um, it shouldn't take much time. Just so I can continue with the lesson. The truth actually, because it's more or less in that line. Let me be sure. I think I should end this class. Sorry. Okay, so let's start. So I'm going to start by creating the conditions or the grade. I'll put it in comments. So A would be 80 to 80 to 100. B would be 70 to 80. C would be 60 to 70. I guess there are some people that use this. D would be um 45 to 59. Oh, oh, oh. I have some fixing to do. E would be 44 to 30. Then would be F would be, I think, have hands up. 29 to 0. Yes. I think I have a hand up. Let me check. Message. Yes, I'm going to fix that. Sorry. Thank you for pointing that. So where's my code? Right. So let me fix this. So 80 to 100, 79 to 79 to 61, I think. Oh, 71. Yes, 71. So 60 to 70. Hmm. I think this is 89. And this is 80. I've ended up confusing myself. Sorry. 88, 79, 79, 79, 79. What am I doing? Sorry, sorry. I've confused myself. Wait. 89,
I think it's 89 to 100.
yes. Then
And
7,
then from
0,
80 to to 79, no,
You know what? Let me just keep it simple. To 70, then 671. I think it's easier this way. Yes, it's easier this way. Okay, let me try it. If it doesn't work, I'll fix it. Okay, thank you for your
I,
suggestion.
ha-
Yeah,
I have a question. Isn't it supposed to be 70 to 80?
I actually confused myself with this grading. Please wait, let me get the let me just get a grade system online because I end up confusing myself because it's supposed to be so sorry. Wait, grade system. Just hold on, let me get it from my phone. Nope, 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 nope. A to A to F. Yeah. All right. I'm confused there. Online is confusing me. So let me just try and manually fix it. So now 0 to 30 is F. If you score 30, that's F2. So 0 to 30. 0 to 30 is F. Let me fix it here. Now 31 to 45. Well, not 44. 45. Okay. Then D is 45 to 59. C is 60 to 70. Let me say 60 to 70. 70. What's this button? All right. Then 71. Okay, it makes sense now. 71 to 80 is B. And then 81 to, yes, I think this makes sense. I'm going to be sure I'm not skipping any comments before I go on. Okay, I'm seeing the comments here now. Okay, let me try with this, and if it doesn't work, I rotate it. All right, so let's do this now. We want to build the statement. I'm keeping this here so that we'll know what we're working with. So we'll say grade is equal to integer input. Obviously, integer is because whatever the user puts, if the user puts 80, the computer would see it as a letter, not as a number. So integer allows it to read as a number. So um what is your score? Okay, space close two. Okay, then excuse me, we now say if grade is greater than 80, sorry, that's less, greater than 80, and grade is less than and or equal to 100, because we have to include the fact that somebody can have 100. If I just say, if I remove this equal to, what happens to the person that has 100? So if the person's grade is greater than 80 but less than 100 and also 100, print you have an A. Any other comment you want to make, blah blah blah, make it good. So we go and say else if grade is less than or equal to 80, because we have to consider 80 now. So if grade is less than or equal to 80 and grade is greater than 70, that's from 71 upward, but less than 80 and also including 80, say print you have a B. Okay. Then we say, or else the grade is greater than 60 and it's also greater than, and it's also less than 70, I mean, less than 70 means that's a C. It's, did I take in record of 70? Look, yes. So if it's greater than 60, 61 upward, if it's greater, yes, 60 and 70 is in this list. So equal to equal to. Then elif grade is the next thing is greater than or equal to 45. And oh, I missed grade here. And grade is less than 60. That excludes 60. Print, you have a D. Okay, so let me move this down. Okay. Elif again. Sorry. Elif grade is 31. So grade is greater than 30 and is less than 45. Then we'd say you don't have energy. Print. You have an E. And then last, okay, not lastly. Elif grade is greater or equal to 0 and grade is less or equal to 30. Then we say print, you have an F. Now, as I told you, every if statement must have an else statement. So what happens to the person that does not have a score? Let's say someone that has 101. Let's say else print, you didn't write the test. Am I confused anyone? Let me go to the chat and see. So did anyone follow to that point? Is anyone confused? Let me run it so we'll see. If you have any question, just unmute your mic and ask since I can't see the other end. So now, if I save this and I run it, let's say I have 90 and 90 is supposed to be A, right? So you have an A. So if I run it and I say save and I run it again, and let's say I have 101, you didn't write the test. Or run again and I say I had 27, you have an F. I run it again. I want to check with 51. Let me try with 100, then I'll stop. Then 100, you have an A. So that's it. That's how you've seen if statement. It checks to see if this is here. So it found out in the case of 100, it checks to see if grade was greater than 80 or it was less than or equal to 100, and then it worked. But when we had the case of 51, It went round. Let's say we have zero. The user imputed zero here. Excuse me. It will check here. If it didn't meet the condition here, it will move to the next one. It will look for zero here to move to the next one. Blah, not here, not here, not here. Then when it saw it, it now said zero, said F. So that's it for the grade system. Any question? This code, the code will be available. Um, the code will be available on GitHub. I will open a repo on GitHub specifically for all the code in this class, but I will just manually send it on the group chat too, so that everyone can have it, and you can upload it on your own GitHub or do your own code and upload. So questions. Let me treat your questions before we move to loop. Seems everybody understood. So please, if you understood, let me know. Just leave an emoji in the chat, or let me know if you understood them. We can move on.
Sorry, I can't say I understood fully, but like, yeah, I understand the concept of the other thing. But what I wanted to ask initially was like, you use the else if for the grading aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Can't we use? You said something about you have to use an else.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use an else, like if you're trying to write a code. Can't we say if, let's say, 80 to 70 is A,
Mm-hmm.
if 69 to this is this, you run it down till the invalid part where if like it's above 100 or below 100, writes writes the percentage at the test. I don't know if you understand what I'm
So
saying.
you're asking why did
Or
I
should I
use
come?
elif instead of if all through? So like
Yeah,
here, why did I use
basically.
elif? Why is it not if here? Why is it not if here? Why is it not if, right? Is
Till
that
the last part.
okay?
Till the last part where you write else. You didn't write it else.
When you have multiple conditions, you can only have one if.
Only one.
Yes. Let me run this and see. Let's see what it will give us.
Well, okay. Go on.
Let me clean this off. So let's run this. Let me use 40. It worked, right? But I want to show. Can you see my screen? Oh, I was showing you
No, I
something.
can't see your screen.
Oh,
I
no
can't see your
wonder.
screen.
Okay, let me share it again. Now, can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, now I ran it through, right? I ran it and it came out 40. It worked. But can you see here that it also
Okay.
wrote you didn't write the test and you have an E?
Okay.
So it ran,
Mm.
it got the score and it had the you didn't write the test. So it's an error. It didn't work well. I want to show you there's something we call PEP
Okay.
Python, um, Python rules. We have what we call PEP and it's style guide for Python code. I'm supposed to share this with you guys so you will know the rules, not to break the rules and all of that. I want to look for if statement, conditional. They have certain rules for certain things. You're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that, you're supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. Um Let me see if they have something for if statements. already from what you've seen, it didn't work, right? But then um you are not supposed to okay, this is what they have for if statement. When the conditional part of an if statement is long enough to require that it be written amongst multiple lines, blah 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 blah, blah. No, not this. I need I need the condition on one single if statement. But if you check the rules, you must only have one if, and any other condition to be met in this program definitely has to be an else if. Or else, if this one is there, do this, or else do this other one, or else so, or else like that, just keep running. I think there's something like that in JavaScript, but I'm not sure. You don't have knowledge of JavaScript. You'd see that you have like different on the occasion of multiple conditions. You must use an elif, elif with one if and one else. Do you understand?
Yeah, yeah. I understand you.
All right.
Say one if and one else.
Yes. So that's on JavaScript is else if. Okay, yeah. 'Cause I know it's existing in JavaScript, but I'm not sure. So yes, that's that on if and else. You keep practicing, you will get it. So let's look at loop. Let's look at loop. Now, we've looked at the condition of what happens when one thing is met. If you know a loop, you know loop as there's this game, there's this game children do. You have like this round. Let me see if I can get an image. Loop play something. I think they call it hoopy something. Ah, that's not the example I'm looking for. But it's not the exact example I'm looking for. But you have what it means to loop is for something to keep going over and over and over again, like it's running over. When you have a number loop, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down to 10, or down to 100, down to 200. You're going from the next thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. Hula hoop, something around yes, something like that. But they have this, it goes in a loop. Um, you keep going one, two, round. Yes, that's I wanted to show the visual representation of it. Thank you for that. I'm not so sure. I was not sure of the name. Now, what loop does is that loop runs two things over. It iterates. That's the word you can use for this. Iterate, right? When you do something over and over from the same point, you go from point A to point B, back to point A, back to point B, back to point A, back to point B. That's what loop does. So I will try to show you this in an example. So I'll open a new file. Wait, let me be sure I'm sharing my screen. Okay, yes, I'm sharing my screen. So a new file, because I don't want to clean off the previous code. And we have for I in okay, I used an example before yesterday. X is equals to no fruits problem. I have an issue. Okay. Fruits is equals to apple, banana, orange, forgotten fruit, pineapple, mango. Right. Let's stop here. Let me. Then I want the computer to go through and list each of these items separately. I will use a for loop. So for every For every fruit in fruits, print fruits. So for every fruit in this list of fruits, print out each fruit. So if I save this, I have to save the file loop and I run my code. Has printed apple, banana, orange, pineapple, mango. Let me clean this so I run this again. So it has printed it. So I said for each fruit in fruits. So let me explain. Now I created a new variable fruit, and then we also have the variable that is a list of items fruit. So what this does is that it prints out items in a list of items. So we have another example would be for I or for X. People use I, X, whatever. So for I in, let me use I. For I in range, let me say 10. So what I'm doing now is I want the computer to list the way it listed out apple, banana, orange, blah, 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 blah. Let me comment this out, comment this out, and comment this out. So I want it to list numbers for me. So I've said in the range of 0 to 10, print out each number in the range of 0 to 10. And I'll say print I, I save, and I run it. You can see it has printed 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But it didn't print 10 because I didn't include 10. But if I want it to print 10, either I do 11 and I run it and to print 0 to 10. Or if I just want exactly 1 to 10, I would say 1, comma 10, and I control S and I run it and to print exactly 1 to 10. So that's what loop does. It went from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It printed out 1. It did it very fast. That's why I didn't see it. So it did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like I have a question. Okay, ask.
Sorry, you wrote 1 to 11.
Yes. So I told it to run from, it should start from 1. But if I just wrote 10, it will start from 0. It considers 0 a number, right? But I didn't want
Sorry,
0.
could you go back to the console?
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, this is
So
clear.
I didn't want it to start from 0. So that's why I said start from 1. And I wanted it to also to read down to 10 and include 10. So I now said, okay, stop at 11. The way range works is that it usually does not count the last number. It excludes the last number. So I needed it to include
Okay,
10.
like the console, please.
This is the console. You need the code.
The other one, the code, that's what I mean.
Okay. So I said
Yeah.
in the range of 11, starting from 1, print each number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down to 10. Because I
Okay.
said 11. If I want to include 11, I will just change 11 here to 12, right?
12.
Now, another thing again that I missed is something else we call step. So, another loop thing is, let me clean the console so I'll show you. Now, I've added 1, start at 1, stop in 10, jump by 2. Let me make this 11 so it will include 10. So, start at 1, stop by 11, and, jump 2 by 2. If I run this, you see 2. Oh, oh, sorry. Sorry. I made a mistake. My goal here is to print out even numbers. And all even numbers are starting from 2. So I'll save this. Sorry. I'll control S and I run this. Has given me all the even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 0. So if I want it to exclude 0, I will start from 2. Then I run this. Then I run this. And it will give me 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you just tell it how many times you should jump. If you want it to jump 3 times, that's the last argument there. You write 3 there. If you want it to jump 5 times, argument. So that's how loop works. Okay, no question. All right, so we've looked at for loop and we also want to look at while loop now. So I think I should do exercises in for and while, but let me finish explaining, then I think I can come back to it. So let's say we have x is equal to, let's build an entirely different project. Let me make this. While loop is a conditional statement keyword in the sense that if a condition remains met, do this. So let me give you an example. So we have x is equal to 0 and say while x less than remains less than 10, we'll now say print x. Then we'll now say this will give us an endless loop because x will forever remain 0 will forever remain less than 10. Okay, no, let me use a 4. Let me use 4. Why it is. Then we'll now say x loss equal to 1. So when you finish printing out x, add 1 to x and then run it again. So if I save this and I run this, what did I do wrong? Okay, I think I've come to a stop. Just hold on. Let me check. I need to know what I'm doing wrong. Well, instead of 4, yes, I tried to run a while statement, but I've confused myself. Just hold on. Let me use the example from this. I wanted to use a for statement to see if it works, but okay, let me just use while here. Okay. Nope. I want to start it from beginning. Okay. I need to be sure I'm not. Okay, so I tried Victor. So I replaced the for back with the while for it to run. I wanted to use for, but I guess the syntax is wrong. So it now printed, it started from 0. 0, let me minimize this. Okay. So it printed out 0 to 9. So what happened here? It started from 0. Of course, x was 0, so it listed out 0. Then I now said add 1 to 0, add 1 to x, and then run it again. So it became 1 after they added 1 to 0. Then, of course, it was less than 10, it printed out 1. It added 1 again, 2. Added 1 again, 3. added 1 again. But then x now remained less than 10. That's why it did not print 10. So temporal variables. Yes, for me to use I think you're talking about for loop, right? Are you talking about for loop? Yeah. So it doesn't work with it doesn't work with this system does not work with for loop. Now I just remembered. If I have to do something like for this in that for x in, there always has to be 2 points. There always has to be 2 points. If I wanted to do what I wanted to do, I would have said something like in range for x in range 10, something like that. So yeah, I think we've looked at for loop, we've looked at while loop. Please, I need to know your confusions and your questions now. Before I give like the task for today, the exercise, and then the assignment. Is everyone following? Yes, Chris.
Hi, sorry. Go back to the model, please. The console, sorry. Where you wrote the programs.
Here.
So basically, the first one that you exempted, the for I in range, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it in twos. Let's say like write numbers in twos,
Mm-hmm.
like even numbers now, right?
Yep.
While for this second part, exactly. Like, could you like repeat what you were saying? You say x equals to 0.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me explain it better because I feel I didn't explain the while better. So did you understand the for loop?
Yeah, you're doing it in twos,
Okay.
like
So now,
2,
yes, 2,
11
4,
this
6,
time.
8 down to 10. Now
Yeah.
let me explain the while loop. I'm trying to think of an example to use. Okay, so we've said with while loop, what we are telling the computer is to check if while a condition is being met, do something. Okay. In for loop, we are trying to solve or we're trying to indicate membership. Okay. Remember, I don't know if in classes I talked about membership operator. For if apple is in fruit, print fruit, print true. If apple is not in so and so, print false, right? So for loop deals in a way with membership. So you have to specify with variables. You use like two variables. That's why I have for fruit in fruits, if fruit in fruits, that kind of thing. So that's how for loop works. But while on the other end now says while something remains something, do this. While this is met, while a condition is met, do something. In this example now, I said while x remains less than 10, print x. If I wanted to create an infinite for loop, you have an idea when to stop. Yes, exactly. I would use his example. Let me just finish this. Now, if I want to create an endless loop, a loop that does not end, like an endless journey for the code, I won't I will not add 1 to this because x will always be 0 will always be less than 10. So let me try this. Let me try to create an endless loop and see if it will work. So I control S and then run. This is an endless loop. You can see it's giving 0, 0, 0, and it has not stopped. It's still 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay? Just before I crash my system. Close the program. Sorry. Endless loop can actually crash your system. I wanted to make an example. Please hold on. Let me open idle again. But yes, so Victor said that for loop, you have an idea when to stop. But with while loop, until certain condition is met, you can't stop. As you can see now, I just created an endless loop because I didn't stop the code. It will keep running and running and running and running. That zero I did there will continue running, 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 running till only God knows when. Because I didn't stop it. Okay. So let me open my code again and see. Chris, do you understand it now? Should I still do you have a better
I
understanding of
do,
how it
but if
works?
I do, but if you could still give another example, no problem.
Okay, hold on. Let me open loop again. Okay. Let me give another example. Oh no, let me not clean this. X plus equal to 1. So let me just make this invisible. Uh, Okay, let me open W3 school so we can look at the examples they have there. Okay, so under loop, um, I need another loop example. I need another loop example. Okay, they don't have any other loop example. While loop. Okay, they have I is equals to no. I don't want this. I need something simple to explain. So let me create another loop example since they don't have anyone. Let's say we have so I'm thinking of an example. We have a class register. Okay, we have a class record or something. I want to explain loop. Do you need me to explain loop generally or for loop or while loop? Which one do you need?
While.
Okay, now. But you understand the concept of meeting conditions in coding, in Python programming, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now let me now explain loop, while loop. Now, if you're going on the road and um let's say someone is going, rain is falling, rain is falling, rain is falling, rain is falling, and you're going with your umbrella, and we say while the rain remains falling, or while the rain is still falling, open your umbrella. Okay, then it will now open. Okay, so X is equal to the person holding the umbrella. We'll now say, okay, while the rain is still falling, open umbrella, blah 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 blah. You know, then I don't know if my example is good. But while loop makes sure that a condition is met, or a condition remains met, or a condition is in process of existence. Let me see if I can do something else. So let me not use age. Let me say y is equal to y is equals to 10. Do I have a question? Do I have hands up? Oh, 10 minutes. 15 minutes, sorry. Okay. Y is equals to 10. Okay. And I say while y is greater than 10, sorry, print while will cause, no, let me not say while. This will cause an endless loop. This will cause no effect, I mean. because y is not greater than 10. Y is actually 10. Okay. I don't know how to explain this for you. Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now, explain to me what you understand in loop already. Let me fill the
For
knowledge
which,
gap.
for or while?
While, because you said your problem is while, not for. Explain what you think you
Yeah.
understand in while. That's how I can come in.
Well, if you're saying it like you're just saying it normally, I understand what you're talking about. Like if the rain is falling and you have your umbrella should be open. I understand what you're talking about. All I'm talking about is like how to put it in code,
That's what I did here.
basically.
Okay. You know what? Because if I want to use another example, I've not taught you other, like, break, continue. So I don't want to use another example and then confuse you, right? Um,
Yeah.
let's go back. Let me create another example now. I want to intentionally create an endless loop. Say x is equals to 0, then while x is less than 10, print x. Now, we know that x is 0. So by default, without running this code, we know that x is going to be 0. And we know that it's going to print 0 because x is 0. It will not come back again from the beginning to check x again. Is 0, it will print 0. To come back again, it's 0, it will print 0. Right? Then I will now say, I'm going to just put break here so that it doesn't end up being an endless loop. So if I run this, Control S, and run this, it has given me 0 one time because I don't want to crash my system. So now, one time. Okay. Then if I now go ahead to say, um, but then you need to increase the value of x so that um, it keeps running. So I will now say add 1 x before you go back again to the beginning and check again if it's less than 10. Add another one again to check if it's less than 10. Add another one again to check if it's less than 10. So that's what the while loop is doing. It's going round and around and checking for conditions if this condition is met. That's why it will run from 0 and stop in 9. Do you understand? Do you understand it?
Yeah, I get
The
you.
truth is, I don't expect you to automatically have all this figured out. Truly. That's honestly, but then I do expect that as the more you practice, the more some of these things will make sense to you. Like next week, we'll be doing a lot of programs that deal with for loop, while loop, conditional statements generally. So I think with practicing, you understand it. So as long as you understand that while loop is has a definite condition that needs to be met. Um, while loop, you give the condition that while something 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 is happening, do this, and then for loop is membership. If for this in this, do this. As long as you understand that how the flow works, you're good to go.
All right, then, no problem. I understand.
Okay, so I've come to the end of the class. We've covered what we have to study today. Let me give room for questions. 5 minutes for questions, then, or anything, any suggestion you want to teach your classmates, something you want to teach, or just anything anybody wants to say. You can talk. Okay, seems nobody has anything to say. Thank you for your time. Thank you for um, showing up for the class. We finished the first quarter of the class with conditional statements. With now you can build programs, basic programs that are very very basic, quite easy. So I'm going to be giving projects, and as usual, please submit your assignments before Thursday, so that I know that you're following. I can help you with the corrections. And next week's class is going to be a very practical class. So if you can log in next week Friday with your computer, that would allow you to share your screen, because we'll be having practical classes. So thank you. And if you have any question, please send it to me on WhatsApp. The YouTube video recording for yesterday was uploading at the start of this class. You need to check how far it has gone. Yeah, while the class started, it was uploading. Okay, it's done uploading. Yes, so that should be it. I'll send the first link now, and I'll send the second link as soon as I upload it. After now, I will edit then upload. So I would also, yes, I will also